Jumbo, fellow adventurers on the 21-day Change One Thing adventure, an honor to be in your company. So how's it going? How's the first week been? Are you on fire? Are you scared? Are you angry? We're going to fix all of that right now. A couple of announcements, and then we're going to talk about one of my favorite epiphanies of the last 20 years as a teacher. Why you deserve so much. Okay, but first the protocol. Let's see here. Welcome to new folks. For new or veterans, remember, like I said last week, please go at your own pace. We're getting some feedback that there's a little overwhelm and the stuff's piling up and there's much more than 4 minutes to do in a day. Let me clarify, as I did at the outset of the last workshop, what 4 minutes a day means. It means for our interaction during these 21 days, as we model and create a template that we can follow going forward, we will be spending this time together in kind of an incubator. You're kind of learning. This could well be a little more than 4 minutes a day, but you're certainly not expected, for example, to go out and create a brand new vision board on any one of these days. The idea is to get started. And then beyond these 21 days, you're going to have wisely defined end results, which is so massively important. And I got your questions. I'm going to be answering those questions during Q&A today. You're going to have wisely defined end results. You're going to thoroughly understand the manifestation process like you have never understood it before. You're going to be able to roll with setbacks. You're going to be able to calculate demonstrations, baby steps, acts of faith, all on the fly as you live your normal life. And then beyond these 21 days, you will ideally dedicate about 4 minutes a day forevermore to either creative visualization, the crafting of affirmations, recording your gratitude, thinking in deep thought, or the like. Make sure my backup camera's going. So that's what the 4 minutes a day means. It's overall from this point forward, with the little exception of these 21 days where you'll be called to do a little bit more. It's just going to be 4 minutes a day. And then your new life will take over where you automatically go in stride with the things you learned during this incubation period. So again, with the 21 days, you can take a few days off. And for example, beyond the 21 days, I almost never visualize on the weekend. So, there's so much wiggle room. There's so much latitude that the universe grants us in making our dreams come true. We just need to do the basics, have wisely defined end results, patience, inspired action, instilled by a grounding in truth, a little bit of visualization and demonstrations, and you will blow the lid off of all you ever wanted to do in the most wonderful of ways. Let's see, a couple more little points of protocol here. If for some reason you don't get your daily email reminder, okay, this is not uncommon. There's some ISPs block us as spam. It's not just us. Other crazy things can happen. You don't need your daily email. You just go to club.tut.com. or just go to tut.com and you can log on and find your dashboard, which is where you're now watching this video. And just do that every morning. You don't need the daily email, which simply says, hello, here's the link for today. I want to also emphasize, as I did last week, that this course is broken into 3 parts that are really complementary to one another. The daily videos, the workbook that complements the daily videos, and the 4 workshops. This, of course, is number 2 of 4. It's not just the workshops. It's not just the videos. If you leave out one of these 3, you could well be missing that one vital link that helps you connect the dots. Literally, the text in the workbook was done last, and I made sure that anything that I didn't say in the video or on the upcoming workshop, presumably, would be at least covered there. That's like my catch-all. So please be sure that you embrace all 3 on the days you allot for yourself to do this 21-day course. Today, we're going to be doing about 40 minutes of new material, why you deserve so much. And then there can be a lot more time for Q&A. Many of you have already submitted questions, either on the Facebook page or on your dashboard under the first workshop video. We've already got those condensed to the best of our ability. And we're also going to be taking live questions. So under the video you're watching right now, go ahead and type a hello, a shout out. Tell us where you are. Tell us who you are. Tell us what you dream of. Tell us what you're scared of, if you feel inclined. Community is everything. You realize you're not alone. People will find you. You will find your people. But when you're posting under the video and you're watching live, periodically hit refresh. Even if you're not posting, hit refresh and then scroll down and you're going to see the dialogue that's transpiring as I go through the talking points. Excuse me. Okay. Why you deserve so much. This stems from me being a worrier my entire life, including all these years that I've been a teacher on metaphysics. I worry here, I worry there, I have my fears. And I used to think, oh crap, I'm doomed. Thoughts become things and I'm just worried. And I in the beginning would panic, like just throw in the towel. But as I shared last week, when I thought I was going to get fired at Price Waterhouse, in spite of my greatest fears, the vast majority of them never saw the light of day, did not become a manifestation. And I thought that's the weirdest thing. Thoughts become things. All thoughts strive to become things. There's no judgment. So who's to say a thought is positive or negative? All thoughts become things. And if I'm thinking mostly negative thoughts, but I'm experiencing mostly positive outcomes, like what the hey? What is going on? It's because I did, as I shared last week, even though I was in the fear, I kept doing what I could with what I had from where I was. Even though it felt futile, it was enough. But there's another reason. Fellow adventurers, not all thoughts are the same. Oh, wow. And just because we live in a non-judgmental universe that adores us, adores you, more than you can comprehend. Non-judgmental does not mean you got a 50-50 shot at your dreams coming true. Non-judgmental does not mean, if there's some pluses, there's some minuses. If there's some greens, there's some blues. If there's some yellows, there's some pinks. If there's some good, there's some bad. No, that's not non-judgmental. This whole game is so rigged. It's like crazy town. It's like everything is here conspiring on your behalf. We do not live in a neutral universe. That's what I wanted to share with you today. We do not live in a neutral universe. It's just bursting at the seams for you. Now, you may be thinking, that hasn't seemed to be my case. Simply knowing this, and probably up until now, you did not know it the way you're going to know it in this workshop. Not knowing it, it's like the air went out of your balloon. It's like, what's the point? Why should I try? 50-50 at best. And we lose our enthusiasm. We start focusing on what we don't like. What's the point? They're just thoughts. Why should I think big? I'll just be disappointed later on. And we let our power ebb away. So this is absolutely huge. I've given away more than I thought I would at this stage of the workshop. But let me kind of put some legs under this table and help you get to where I now have been. And I want to do that by first really making sure you truly understand the power you pack through your selective focus, because your thoughts become things. Not sometimes, but all the time. Not just your positive thoughts, but the other ones too. Although your positive ones, as you'll soon see, have more power than the other ones. It's not a someday thing. It's not a maybe thing. It's not a if you've been good thing. No judgment from the above. It's not something that God decides. That's just a misunderstanding that gives your power away. I want it, don't have it, must be God. I want it, don't have it, it must be the universe's timing. It's coming. It's coming fast. It's coming to your highest good. Thoughts becoming things is the end all, be all of living the life of your dreams. God's wish, God's thought, if you will. And excuse, there's no religion when I use the term God. But God's thought, God's wish, the universe's wish was to explore and expand even more in its eternal state of bliss and ecstasy. And one of the infinite ways, undoubtedly, that the universe was able to do this was to create these sacred, hallowed jungles of time and space, sights, sounds, colors, textures, aromas, here versus there, now versus later, have versus have not. Suddenly, this is like this kaleidoscope of whirling possibilities and physical universe and planets, symbiotic relationships, and on and on and on. And as others have said, and it's in my books as well, God was left, metaphorically, on the outside looking in. How do you fix that? Creative idea here. What if I get born into the illusions as a biological creature made of matter itself, yet animated with the spirit of my own? And so suddenly God's wish is come alive. Thoughts become things. And we are now those God particles alive, except early in the curve of the evolution of consciousness. And we're so bamboozled by the exotic nature of the bliss and majesty that surrounds us, we have lost track of the fact that we are streaming it as we are experiencing it. God's wish came true. God is now on the inside, alive in the dream of life, slowly waking up, groggy, like, where the hell am I? Oh man, this is beautiful. But oh, here comes a lion and a tiger and a bear. And now, with the baton having been passed, and all of this is playing out in the heart of God. You're so safe. God would never let you go, never go herself to a place that was dangerous so that they could be made less. And so now the baton has been passed. And as you open your eyes, you will soon come to see, whether it's this incarnation or others, you don't have to transcend the illusions to rock a joyful life. You will see that you are creating on the fly. And that the biggest wow of your existence is that you exist. Oh my God, that you are here is a bazillion times more awesome than anything you could do while you're here. If you could lead Oprah Winfrey's life and Elon Musk's life and Mahatma Gandhi's life and Martin Luther King Jr.'s life in one lifetime, it would be nothing compared to the fact that you're even here now, alive in the splendor where your thoughts become things and you can choose your words wisely, and your words will give you wings. This is the truth. This is why you deserve so much. And so now you've got this laser beam. You're like a flashlight in the dark, and wherever you point your focus, there's life and beauty streaming on the fly manifestations. You don't like what you spotted? Change the picture here, and then gradually what shows up in the spotlight will change. That might be a little bit esoteric, but it's building this case that you're not living in a world that's happening to you, and that by understanding who you really are, how you got here, oh my gosh, you start having this confidence surging, this expectation. Not that you've got to go out there and manifest the sun, the moon, and the stars. That's been done for you. You just got to go rock a happy life. Just go for a walk in your backyard or in the park or a garden. Listen to some music, some Beethoven, some Tchaikovsky, some Kanye West, and just be awed by the variety and the tune and the groove and the sights and the sounds and the colors. When I started out as a teacher of this stuff, if you will, I was writing the audio script for Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams, which later became a book. And I was looking for some commonality, and I didn't want to be this woo-woo former CPA, chartered accountant, who just starts spouting out, you're pushed on to greatness, your thoughts become things. It's like, there's got to be legs under the table. And I thought, well, how do I go there? And just intuitively, I just sat down one day and I wrote down what I view to be the 5 truths of being. The 5 truths of being. Because as I rationalized, and as I reasoned in my audio script that became a book, it's like, if you're going to have a platform to live and experience the splendors of creation, aka if you're going to create a stage, the time-space continuum, wouldn't there absolutely have to be some consistent absolute? You know what absolute means? I mean absolute as in wouldn't there have to be some absolute principles, concepts, elements that would create a stage that could be depended upon, so that me and my mother and my brother and my wife and my sister and everybody, and people I work with and people I argue with and people I drive in traffic with, and that we all have a certain simple baseline to create the stage so that we can play upon the stage. Because let's face it, if the stage could just have a trap door, and every 10 years, crazy things happen and trap doors would open for no reason whatsoever, and pigeons would turn into elephants unexpectedly. And you have to have certain basic pillars that hold up that reality, but as few as possible, so that you don't create limitation for the participants. Okay? So, and I thought, what are those pillars? It's really not so hard to realize that this must be the case. You can see it in the world around you. It's not the physical laws. The physical laws are very dependable, and they do help create this, but they're bendable and those can be broken. That's how much leeway we have. But more importantly, what are the absolute truths to hang your hat on and feel good about yourself at any point in your life? And what was hard was putting words to them, because there's a number of different ways you could say one of these truths. I'll share them with you in just a second. There's a number of different ways you could say them, and you want to speak broadly enough that you're covering, an infinite number of subordinate truths that would not be not mitigate or play against the main truth. So this is what I came up with, and I realized these are even redundant sounding. The most I could come up with is 5. I challenge you, bring it on in the forum below on the Facebook page. Come up with some truths of being that don't fit into one of these 5. Number 1, we are all one. Now, here's the word absolute revisited, so you understand that we are all one. These pillars of our reality that make the jungles of time and space possible are so immovable that even if at the core of your being you didn't believe it, didn't know about it, didn't care, it would still be part of what holds your life together. Now, I know that you have found this adventure at tut.com. You're already a little bit into metaphysical thinking. So you already know how powerful your beliefs are. Well, in the case of these truths of being, these pillars of reality, even not believing in them, coming up with alternative pillars, these pillars still make possible your life. Okay, so we are all one. This could also be said of one, of God, divine, interconnected. There's a lot of ways you could say it. It could also be we are all God, or call it we are all the universe. We are all vestiges, sparks of the universe. You can't have the universe and then not the universe. Like there's only the universe, and we are one with all of that. Not teammates. We are one. I am you and you are me, and we are both God looking at each other right now. except you look like a webcam to me. Number 2, thoughts become things. AKA, you could also phrase it as we are all creators, mini-me's of the divine. Number 3, life is eternal. You could also phrase that as consciousness is eternal. God is eternal. Energy is eternal. We ourselves are eternal. And all of those would be true. See the trick of putting it to words? But in your handout, you all have a handout under the video you're watching on your dashboard. I summarize much of what I'm going to share and have already shared in this workshop. Number 4, there is only love. There is only love. In other words, there is only God. Not a religious God, just that's the best word that everybody understands, kind of includes divine intelligence, source, the universe. And the last one, number 5, sounds a little bit trite, but it's the best I could come up with for the intention. It's all good. It's all good. Now, that is to say that everything is working out. There's always order. There's always meaning. There's always purpose, even in circumstances which can be so unfair. There's order. And from a high enough perspective, there would be love. So, okay, don't let circumstances mislead you. Circumstances are not reality. They are on the stage of reality, and there's always love. Now, those 5, we are all one. Thoughts become things. Life is eternal. There's only love. It's all good. Those could be collapsed in probably into three pillars of reality. I'm not trying to create a religion. None of these have an agenda. I've already given them out to you. There's no call for another product purchase here. But if you can understand that this is all you got to deal with, how beautiful is that? We are all one could also be, there's only God. Well, if there's only God, God is one, we're all God. So you see how they can be collapsed? But there's something really amazing about one of those truths. There's only one that has a variable or a moving part, if you will. Only one. Thoughts become things. The things and events of your life, of our lives, collectively. Thoughts becoming things tells you where you fit into the equation of reality creation. As I said, you are a creator, not just a creator of things you make with your hands. You've created the sun, the moon, and the stars. You don't remember it? There's a reason you don't remember it. You can deduce why you don't remember it if you're curious, and perhaps we'll do that a little bit later on in the material today. But all of this, I have little doubt, must be resonating within your heart and soul. And if you realize those are the only pillars, the absolutes of this reality, notice I didn't say karma. Karma might bite you in the butt, man. Thoughts become things, but I hope you don't have any bad karma. I hope you weren't a pirate in your last lifetime. You might be going down this lifetime. Karma is a phenomenon. You override karma. You override and prevail over everything through your free will to choose your focus. And as I shared last week, for the reasons I'm giving you today, 5 minutes of visualization set against 18 hours of fear, that fear doesn't stand a chance. Why? Because not all thoughts are the same. When you get a whiff of this, it doesn't get any better. There's nothing more empowering to the human experience than truth. And there's nothing more debilitating to the human experience than not knowing the truth. And the truth is simple. It is benign. It is knowable. To the degree you need truth to live a happy life, it's at your fingertips. With our little human fleshy brains, okay, you might not figure out the gaseous makeup of a black hole in outer space. What does that have to do with your happiness? You might not figure out why some people do what they do. That does not have anything to do with your happiness. You chose a playing field where you could live your adventures, your dreams, learn what you wanted to learn for your happiness, and all is supremely well. There's nothing that can take that away from you. No, not anything, not ever, and God would never dream of interfering. Very often people will say, well, how do I know if what I want is what God wants or my higher self wants? What if my higher self said, I want you to do this path and make a right-hand turn and live happily ever after? But my little ego is like, no, I want to go over here. I want to go over there. All that matters is you, the you that hears these words right now. Your higher self wanted to be you, full stop. The baton has been passed. Yes, that doesn't mean there's nothing to learn. There's stuff to learn, and that's why we're doing the 21-day Change One Thing adventure, right? That's why we're doing these workshops. That's why we're doing some creative visualization. We're going to learn that what we don't like, we can recreate by creating new end results in spite of the existence of that which we don't like, and go rock a happy life. So I think I got to where you get thoughts becoming things is the end all and be all. And this is where all of a sudden, after, if you were new at this and you'd never heard this kind of talk before to this extreme, you'd be on cloud nine for the next, 7 to 10 days. And then you're going to all of a sudden have a day of worry. We talked a little bit about that last week. And you're going to be like, oh my God, thoughts become things. And I can't stop worrying about my girlfriend cheating on me. That happened to me. Because of what I'm laying out, your divine heritage, the absolutes, everything playing to your favor, you don't need to be freaking out that you had negative, fearful thoughts. But as I was saying, that train of thought, 7 to 10 days from now, you're like, oh my God, I've got a negative thought. I've got a scary thought. Oh my God, I'm doomed. I'm doomed. That's exactly what I went through. After the elation, there's the fall. Oh, but how do I figure this out? Oh, but why am I so scared? Oh, why didn't they call me back? Why didn't I get the job? Why didn't I get this? Oh, coronavirus. Oh, and you end up feeling vulnerable. Because like I said, most of the world doesn't even think you have a 50-50 shot, that they have a 50-50 shot at rocking a happy life. They think, everybody wants abundance. How could I have abundance? Everybody wants XYZ. How could I? There's only a limited amount of resources and everybody wants the same stuff. It's the lucky, the well-connected who break through. It's like, no, that's not how it works. You have the ability to literally create on the fly through thoughts becoming things. And you're not in a place where there's a 2% chance or a 5% chance of you breaking through. There's not a 50% chance of you breaking through. That would be ridiculous. I would not spend one time here, if that 1 minute here on planet Earth, if my odds of joy was 50%. Your odds are pretty much 100% when you get out of your own way. You're of God, by God, pure God. This is why you came here, to explore like God has never explored before. As one of God's favorite people, yourself. Your chances of success are astronomical so long as you have wisely defined end results. Hence a whole hour plus last week. So long as you end up moving forward thinking thoughts that serve you, so long as you incorporate your understanding of the nature of reality into every step and every breath you take forevermore. Who wouldn't want to do that when you realize the power and the possibilities that are born of every moment when you walk this way? So think not as the few fortunate ones do, that, there's no judgment out there. The universe loves me. Oh boy. So for every high, there's going to be a low. For every good, there's going to be a bad. That's 50-50. And we don't live in a 50-50 world, because not all thoughts are the same. Favorite quote of mine that I like to tell a story of is Mark Twain, the Huckleberry Finn author, I think it is. And he said, my life has not been easy. He said, I've had a good many things to worry about, almost none of which came to pass. And this is what brought on one of the greatest epiphanies of my life and one of my favorite teaching points, as I've been laying out right now. How can it be that I can worry so much? And I'm much better now than I used to be. I mean, I used to be Captain Worry, probably until about 30 years old, maybe even into my mid-30s. I mean, if there was an possible eventuality where something might not work out, oh, I was there. I covered that base, and there, and there, and there, and there. And then I still worried that there were bases I didn't cover, or that my Band-Aids might not hold the hemorrhage. How could I worry so much and still prevail? And that's when I realized we are truly, truly the gladiators of the universe, pure God. It's not that our positive thoughts are more powerful than our negative thoughts. Now, this is slippery. Like, wait a minute, what did you just say? As I said earlier, my positive might be somebody else's negative. Somebody else's positive might be my negative. Positivity, negativity, those are words steeped in judgment. And we live in a non-judgmental universe. So again, we're kind of like, oh, I need a ledge to hang on to. Whatever I think I might get. Oh no, I worry it's going to be bad. No, well, we're building this case here. It's so good. Thoughts that are in alignment with truth. That's why I spent all that time talking about the truths of being, because there ain't much past that. You know, thoughts that are in alignment with truth. Thoughts you choose become things, become events, become best friends, become great ideas, become businesses, become $1 million, become spontaneous healing, become whatever you flipping want. Thoughts in alignment with truth. Now, I said truth is we are all God, that we're all one, that there's only love, that it's all eternal. Some tangent here. If it's all God, it's all damn beautiful. Just open your eyes and look at the world around you, the colors, the aromas, the textures, the majesty of planet Earth. Pow! There goes your whole brain. It's so beautiful. So there's beauty everywhere. You can call that a pillar. You can call that an absolute. There's majesty everywhere. There's symbiotic relationships everywhere, not just with crocodiles and bee flickers or whatever, those crazy animals. Me and you, this is a symbiotic relationship right now. And you've got 1,000 of them going on in your life. It's just like automatic. Everything works out. Everyone's connected. Everyone's cooperating. It's so amazing. So thoughts in alignment with beauty, thoughts in alignment with your magnificence, thoughts in alignment with your understanding of how much you deserve, given that you are the eyes and the ears of God. Boom, boom, boom. Become things, become best friends, become all those other, become clarity, become confidence, become soothing, become peaceful, whatever you want. Thoughts in alignment with truth. So what do we normally think of? And this is going on thin ice. Thought in alignment with truth. We would probably call that a positive thought. And you can. There's so much wiggle room. You can call that a positive thought. But then we kind of run into slippery area. Well, Trixie really ought to love me because I'm awesome. And she is too. Maybe yes, maybe no. We don't want to, you can't think somebody else's thoughts or manipulate other people with your thoughts. And while, so that kind of positive, there we see, that's not a pillar of reality. That's not a life's absolute that Trixie's going to return my love. Okay, so you can veer over to, and understandably so, to say that your positive thoughts click with the current and the magnificence that brought you to planet Earth, and pop, 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 pop. They start becoming things. Just be careful if you use the label positive versus negative, that you're not putting too much judgment in there. That's why I took it and stripped it down to what we're really understanding, and why Mark Twain met with such good fortune in his life, even though he had so much to worry about. Raise your hand if you're included. Now we know why. It's because the thoughts that we did muster, even if it's 5 minutes a day, pitted against 18 hours of worry, even if it's a pathetic 5 minutes a day, laced with fear, overpowers 18 minutes of core fear, core worry. It's because just some just those thoughts, pitiful or weak or timid as they were, given during a 4 or 5 minute creative visualization, because they were in alignment with truth, were able to prevail over the thoughts that were not in alignment with truth. I love my life. I am awesome. Everything I touch turns to gold. I'm surrounded by wealth and abundance. I have creative, fulfilling work. I have the best travel partner, best life partner, best wife, best husband, best whatever. These kind of thoughts are like, oh yeah, of course you're God. Of course that's easy. Of course, look around you. You live your life on a little spinning green and emerald blue marble hurling through space. Your wishes, the universe's command. Of course, when you say thoughts like that are in alignment with truth, I'd like to live in greater financial abundance. I now live in greater financial abundance. Either way, there's so much wiggle room. It's pressed to you. But if you think, she doesn't like me. No, I don't have enough confidence. I've never been good at math. I stink cooking food in the kitchen. I don't like the kitchen. I'm just not that kind of a person. I'm not a people person. I'm not a relationship kind of person. I'm not a skinny person. I have a slow metabolism. Oh, those are not easy thoughts to become things. You can make it happen if you don't know this trick that I'm talking about in this workshop, that not all thoughts are the same. You can make anything happen, even the difficult stuff. You just can't break the pillars of the truths of being. But you could still live a miserable life. But with just the inkling of truth, you're like, oh, I don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Positive. Oh, I don't have to be Mr. or Mrs. Congeniality. Oh, I don't have to be a goody two-shoes. I don't have to be anything. I already am. The eyes and the ears of God come alive in the dream of life. And if I just think a little bit in that direction every day, and in spite of my fear, in spite of my negativity, take some baby steps in that direction. Do some demonstrating, some acting as if. All of this is coming up in the videos this week. Holy cow, you become unstoppable. Look at the people who have succeeded. Okay, look at the wealthiest people in the world. Look at the seemingly happiest people in the world. Look at the most beautiful people in the world. They have nothing on you. They're not one of them is more deserving. Not one of them of anything. We're all of God. No one is more God than the other, and it's never been about judgment and behavior or where you've been or where you are. Drilling down to these truths, you begin to see why you deserve so much. You're God. You're the divine. You're pure source energy. So, just because we live in a non-judgmental universe does not mean we live in a neutral universe. Put it this way, we live in a non-neutral universe where the universe, literally being you, everything's an extension of you, you are an extension of the divine, is conspiring on your behalf, literally. So don't worry that you worry. I said that last week. Start a new train running, creative visualization. I said that last week. Don't think that negative people at home or at work or your partner even can set you back. You're not vulnerable. Come on, not at all. And realize it's so much easier to succeed than not. In fact, success is one of those troubled words. If there's success, there's failure. So you are so much more likely to live on your terms for the rest of your life, no matter how grandiose they are. That's your nature. That's where you came from. That's where you're going. You arrived here as this unimaginably beautiful tidal wave of energy and joy and magnificence, and said, I'm going to be alive in time and space. Let me go. Have at it. And so the thoughts that you think once you get here, even though you're groggy and forgetful, the thoughts in alignment with that desire to come here and rock and roll will carry you over. You live in a non-neutral universe. So therefore, it's as if you're positive. Yeah, don't call them that, but you know what I mean. It's as if your positive thoughts are at least, and I know this number is too low, 10,000 times more powerful than your negative thoughts. So many people to tell me, and I see the questions already. Yeah, but I'm not so positive. And how do I stay so positive? You don't have to do nothing. You're already that person. That's your nature. You just didn't know it, and so you were psyched out. 10,000 times more powerful than your negative, so-called negative thoughts. Thoughts in alignment with truth are 10,000 times more powerful than thoughts out of alignment with this magnificence, this tidal wave of joy that is your true nature. Woo-hoo! So let me do a little bit more of let me show you a little tool I have figured that helped me arrive at virtually all that I just shared. Not that I haven't read some amazing books. At tut.com, at the bottom in the footer, there's a resources link where I name the 15 books that have rocked my life. So nobody does it alone, although anybody could. That's how powerful you are. But let me share with you a little tool. It's deductive reasoning to drill down to truth. Because, I get the odd person that tells me, nobody can really know. How do you know what you know, Mike? How can you have confidence in that, Mike? It's because I went there and thought, and it made sense. It made perfect sense. It lit up every cell of my body. How do I do that? You just start small and realize you don't have to connect every dot or understand every mystery of the cosmos to get the truth you need for traction and happiness. And so I've said repeatedly last week and this week that we are the eyes and the ears of God. Where does that come from? Well, either deductive reasoning, I'm illustrating now, either we live in a world of intelligence or we don't. Either it's an intelligent universe or it's a stupid universe. If you open your eyes and look out the window, you see intelligence everywhere. If you look in the mirror, oh my God, magnificence and intelligence. You're looking great these days, right? So it's and that we have sustained, and that the planet is still hurling. I know this is not a big dot for most of you to connect. Some people are more science oriented. But didn't Albert Einstein, perhaps your guru, if you're science oriented, didn't he say that he uses science to understand the mind of God? That's what the epitome of science is. Albert Einstein said, I want to know his thoughts. The rest are just details. And you can. You don't have to figure out your own theory of relativity. You only have to figure out your own theory of happiness, your version of happiness on your terms. And this is easy to do. So as I'm illustrating right now, either there's a God of religion, which personally doesn't make a lot of sense to me, or there's pure spirituality in that everything is of God, divine source energy. And sure enough, I look out the window, intelligence and beauty everywhere. But it's illusionary. Einstein said that. It's relative, synonymous with illusionary. Time, space, and matter. Scientists say if you look at a solid object closely enough, it's not solid. You go right through it. If you get small enough, it's all illusions. By deductive reasoning, if you realize this is all illusions, mustn't there be, therefore, a greater source realm that was able to project the illusions? You can't have a mirage in the desert without a desert. And I'm postulating you can't have illusions that follow these absolute truths of being without some other realm where there was kind of the ability to formulate it in mind, if you will, so that presto, you could have these sacred jungles of time and space. I'm just connecting a few dots. Is how I got to everything I shared with you today, which you can get to on your own when you need to, when you might feel bummed out or lost or disconcerted or your cage is rattled by the elements of time and space. Go back to truth. Go back to who you must be. You realize that there must be this realm prior to the illusions. And what would you find in that realm? In this intelligent physical universe where there's symbiotic relationships everywhere, it must have been given rise by an awareness. What would you find in a realm pre-time and space? How do you go pre if there's no time? What would you find in that realm? You'd find some kind of awareness. You'd find the intelligence that imagined all of this, divine intelligence, God's source energy. That's what you would find. What's another word for awareness and intelligence? Thoughts. Now, this is going somewhere, so I'm picking one of my favorite words. So what we've just deduced If prior to time and space existing, there was thoughts, God's thoughts, source thoughts, or whatever, that's the best word we can come up with, not being able to comprehend a realm prior to time and space. There'd be awareness, intention, all of this I would call thoughts. If in this realm there was once thoughts, and now, presto, there's the physical universe, what is the physical universe made of? Divine intelligence, divine thoughts. Thoughts become things. These illusions are the thoughts of God, if you will. But look who's thinking now. You are. The baton has been passed. Sure, God's still out there. God's infinitely more than you, infinitely more than me, but we are still pure God. And while you might not know what your mission or purpose is from time to time, you can deduce that God hasn't lost track of her mission and purpose. And you can know that you're part of the plan, or you wouldn't be here. And if you can deduce all that I've just shared right now, which is very, very little, but empowering, are you deserving or what? If you can get that you are of God, by God, pure God, then you realize that some form or fashion of yourself must have existed prior to these very illusions, because God existed prior to the illusions. And now you find yourself in the thick of it. There's only one explanation for how or why you could be here. One. Just a child could deduce this. You had to choose. You had to have chosen to be here. God didn't create this bastion of perfection and be like, who's going to go? I don't want to go. You go. You go. I don't care what you say. No, God wanted to be here. And you are of God, and a portion of you connected with God, that is God, wanted to be here. Not only did you want to be here, but by deduction, you had to have chosen to be exactly who you now are. Right? You didn't say, okay, I can't wait to go. What do you got left? Tall, bald guy? Oh, I can't wait. No, you're like, all right, I'm gonna go, man. This is adventure. It's inside the heart of God. It can't go wrong, right? It can't. No matter what you think, it can't. Even if you exit this thing, crash through the gates, whatever, you open your eyes in the palm of God's hand. You're like, oh, it was just a dream. Let me go back. Let me go back. So you meticulously chose who you now are, who your parents would be, the name you go by, the color of your skin, the love that would be there guiding you every step of the way, and the love that would not be there guiding you at all. And you knew what you were doing, and you did it for a reason, and you don't know what those reasons are right now, but you can get sure that objectives are being met, and from this point forward, you can live deliberately. Your thoughts become things. You're pushed on to greatness every single day. And not only did you choose to be exactly who you are, meticulously, who are you? But Source, but God, but the divine. You are who God most to the 10 gazillion, quadrillion, most wanted to be on the day you were born. And as you hear these words right now, you are who God most wanted and wants to be. So you'd like to live in greater financial abundance? Done. You want a travel partner? Done. You want to heal? That's all? Come on, ask for more. You deserve, if you can think it, you deserve it. If you can think it, it's meant to be. Just define it wisely as we laid out last week, so that you're not getting in your own way and you're not limiting the divine. You can't see everything or figure it out right here or right here. So just say, I want this or better. Have your generally stated end results, and you become unstoppable. Fellow adventurers, is life fair? I've already told you, but yeah, no, it's not fair. Life is not fair. It's so not fair. The cards are so stacked in your favor. It's like you're cheating every single day. Okay? It's like Your thoughts become things. Where's fair in that? Fair is 50-50, right? There's no 50-50. You're going to get it. You're going to do it. It's going to be amazing. All right. So about time for me to answer some of your amazing questions. I take it you're all there, right? You know, I'm staring at a webcam for all this time. I hope I'm not alone. Okay. I see the numbers on this YouTube studio. Okay. Okay. Let me answer some questions. I'm going to do a few questions that were submitted in advance. If you have a question right now, put it on the dashboard and it will be relayed to me. Okay. And of course, I am not going to get to all the questions. I do my very, very best. And already some of them have been distilled so I can probably help as many people as possible with one Q&A. So here we go. Mike, on the worksheet for the workshop, it says, with wisely chosen end results, this process never fails. Mike, how do we know we are choosing wisely? That was last week's workshop when I talked about the Bermuda Triangle of manifestation and where your end results are, and they should not be inside the Bermuda Triangle, which we just said is really a Bermuda Pentagon, 5 sides. As long as your dreams, AKA your end results, do not hinge on a specific person. Can there be people in your dream? Absolutely. As long as it's not hinging on a specific person behaving a specific way, then that's one corner of the Bermuda Triangle you don't have to worry about. What's the other corner? Don't mess with the cursed hows, how my dream is going to come true. That's not your job. That's the job of divine intelligence to figure out how your dream comes true. So make sure your dream is really an end result and therefore broad brush, general, love, joy, happiness, friends, rocking relationships, and you're covered. You're not messing with a how. When it comes to taking action, which is the majority of the videos this week, that's when you decide, oh, well, I'll write this book, or I'll knock on that door and I'll put this property for sale, or I'll go back to school, or I'll join a dating website. Now you're going to be doing things, but you're not attaching to them. You're going to do them to the best of your ability. Why? For the end result. Not because the book is all important, but because you want to be a writer. Okay? The book is a how. Writing is broad enough that anybody can do it. So once you know that it's a writer, or a well-read popular writer, or a wealthy writer that you want to be, then write the book. But don't make the book the dream. Writing is the dream. Then you're not messing with the cursed house. Specific people behaving specific way, cursed house. Don't attach to unimportant details. They're all unimportant, as I laid out last week. And to make it a pentagon, don't worry about the wheres and don't worry about the whens, for the reasons I shared last week. Mike, I can't find my passion. I'm good at and passionate about so many things that I feel like when I focus on one, part of me is dying and I'm missing out on the others. It has left me as a freelancer with a pretty unstable life, albeit a fun one with lots of freedom. Any advice for honing in on what should be my biggest focus? I think this is my roadblock and the thing stopping me. Nothing is stopping you. Everything has been setting you up for this moment and blasting forward. It was a gift. Your quandary, your being rocked in the seas of a turbulent world and not knowing what your real thing is, that was such a gift for right now. You will bless it forever. So the presumption here, I can't find my passion, is that it's one thing. And if you focus on this, but it was over here, how can you really fully be here if your passion's here? And how far should you go down that path before you have to do a U-turn once you finally figure it out? There are an infinite number of niches, passions, and purposes for every life. Just be you and don't think that there's a wrong choice. Wherever you are, that's what it is. Wherever you are, that's what it is. And then you might say, well, if I do this and do this and do this, I'll scatter myself so thin that I won't be able to make progress in any one area. You're not going to do that. You're going to do this, 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 and this. And 3 of those 5 things are going to rock and 2 are going to suck. And you'll drop those 2. And then you'll do those 3 and one of them is going to fade away and something new is going to show up on the horizon. Every day your path will become clearer. So wherever you are, be there with your heart and soul fully immersed into what's at hand. And you will wake up, as I did, with hindsight and say, I'm living it. It found me. Don't go try to find it. Let it find you by enjoying every step your fun life with lots of freedom, I think you're doing pretty good. And I'm glad you pointed that out. Mike, how do I clearly see the end result when I can't even imagine it? How do I get there when all you can see is the present and the current craziness? Oh, is there craziness in the country you live in? Maybe it's where I live. Oh my goodness. So that is, Mike, how do I see the end result when I can't even imagine it? That question is rooted in old school thinking, I do believe. You're thinking you have to imagine your rocking life. No, just imagine yourself happy. Right now, can you just imagine, just do fake a cry and taste the salt of the tear that just rolled down your cheek. I know it's not there, but just, you can taste that, can't you? Your visualization for today is done. You did it. You imagined it. Imagine joy. Imagine happy tears. Imagine champagne coming out of your nose. You're laughing so hard, surrounded by your 24 favorite best friends, flying first class on Virgin Atlantic to London. Just imagine little snippets of joy. Imagine friends saying, congratulations, could not have happened to a better person or a better friend. I love you so much. Can you spare $5,000? Imagine the high fives and the yeehaws and just bursting at the seams with joy. And then you show up sometimes down the least sucky paths, and the magic has been programmed through the visualization. There's going to be a bump off course, a serendipity, a so-called coincidence. And as you enjoy the journey, as I shared for the answer in the first question, you're going to be on your way. Don't be thinking you have to imagine some fleshed out version of your future self. Other than happy tears, you're done. Mike, why do some people get an experience that changes their life for the better, a dream, an opportunity, etc., even when they didn't want it or did anything for it, and other people ask and try to synchronize with the universe, yet it doesn't happen, or it takes a very long time? They all take a long time until they happen, and then you're like, damn, that didn't take long at all. I shared that with you last week. So here is what I would say: changes their life for the better. The answer is, very often our end results are not even end results we've named. Sometimes an end result is, I love life. I love people. I love being here. That person did not just name a dream. That just might be their modus operandi, but that's their vibe, if you will. And so more and more of that stuff whirls around and starts showing up in their life. Whereas the person who's like, I've never really been happy. Life is hard. It's really hard. People are mean. God's angry. Jeez. Those are their end results. Those are their vibration. And so it whirls around. It's like, hey, wow, oh, crap. So you don't have to think of something for it to happen. Remember last week? Sometimes your end results beyond what you were drawn through sometimes end results that we didn't even know were end results will draw us through unthought of territory. And all of a sudden, we get flowers delivered. All of a sudden, we step in dog poo. And so while this is a program about picking one thing and seeing it through to manifestation, very often with our 60,000 other thoughts a day, we entertain other end results or hold or maintain a different vibration that also brings stuff to us. Don't panic. Don't panic. Even if you're the person that said life's hard, it's a test, God's angry, because I've been there. I know, and I still blew the lid off of what I was doing. You're so inclined to succeed, as we deduced earlier in this hour, that you are already way more positive than you realize. You are already more on track. You are already closer. You've already reached the tipping point toward the best chapter of your life. You're doing this course. You're thinking thoughts you've never thought before. You're open heart, open mind, absorbing all this weird stuff about general end results. It's your turn. It's happening now. So, and also don't be judging other people. And I know that you didn't do it in the way we typically mean about, don't judge other people. But hey, they weren't even thinking about that good fortune and it just landed in their lap. You don't know what they've been through. you know, and the same thing for you, or for bad things that happen. You don't know what they set out to achieve in a lifetime, or what you're learning through the setback or two or 22 that you've experienced in your life. Don't just don't judge, okay? Just life is beautiful. You are powerful. Let's get it on. Mike, I can't find my purpose. Every job I have feels like it interferes with me just being a spiritual entity. I don't like the condition of having to make money in order to be alive. I just want to exist, help others, grow spiritually, and enjoy the experience of existing on this planet. So I get stuck. I'm trapped between my very clear awareness that I'm just a spirit in a body, being forced to live as a person. How can I merge the two so I have the financial resources to be my true spiritual self, and enjoy this world as I'm meant to, as a spiritual being, without getting bogged down by the demands of the physical world? Oh, wow. Profound questions, aren't they? These are great, great questions, every single one of them. A couple of things here jumped out at me, like, I have to live in order to maintain this existence. How can I merge the two without getting bogged down by the demands? There's another turn of phrase you use. I just want to exist, help others, grow spiritually, and enjoy the experience of existing on this planet. Why would that be mutually exclusive to living? Of being of service, of working for a charity, or working for a for-profit is just as much of being of service. Whether you get paid a lot or nothing, you can still be of service. I don't understand why it's all one or all the other. And I just saw a really great movie with my daughter and wife called Soul, Soul, the new Disney movie. It's limited viewing. I think you have to have the Disney Channel or whatever. But there's a quote in there that I've heard before about a little fish that swims up to the big fish and says, "Hey, man, I want to go to the ocean." "Where's the ocean?" The big wise fish, the big wise old fish. And the big wise old fish says, "Hey, little buddy, you're in the ocean." And the little fish goes, "No, man, no. This is just water. I'm just in water. I want to go to the ocean." And boy, that really hit a chord deep in me, because so much of my life, and I bet I'm not unique, probably speaking to you right now, it's like, I'm 59 years old, and I see photos on my little tablet and stuff in my house of other times in my life. And I'm like, wow, that was my life, And of course, I'm still living my life, and it's still amazing and awesome. But it's like, so much of my life, I was living as if my life hadn't started, and I was living for some future time. And it's like, this is the ocean. This is as good as it gets, fellow adventurers. And don't frown, okay? This is as good as it gets, because right now you stand poised to write the script for the rest and the best of your life. Your thoughts become things, and it's been glorious up until now. And you've been through all you needed to go through so you could reach this point. And you will give thanks for the hardships you've endured prior to this moment's arrival. So I wouldn't see the mutual exclusivity of live a spiritual life versus have to work to make things done. This was the choice. Do I want to go down there where, if I live a truly spiritual life, all of my needs will be automatically met, maybe in the guise of a job? Sure, I'll go down there. I'll go to work, W-O-R-K, not a four-letter word. I'll meet new people every single day. I'll find out what my skills are. I'll find out what my gifts are. I'll find out how I can grow and more and become amazing. I'll get free pens from my job. And then there'll be the Christmas holiday parties. Yeah, sign me up. So now that you're here, getting a job or working can be viewed as one of the most exciting spiritual adventures you will ever undertake on planet Earth. All right, let me look at some questions submitted live that just came in. Oh, here we go. Can we discuss this in a relationship to current events like BLM and the obvious racial injustices and inequities we live in? Yes, we're all one and we're all equal, but not everyone has the same proximity to power in everyday life. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Well, being a humongous BLM advocate. I totally get it. And, this question or the answer could take a lot of tangents. Like, but suffice it to say, let's look at where we are now. We live in a world where there is grotesque inequality managed and perpetuated by slumbering giants who knew not what they were doing when they were creating laws and practices and customs that enslaved one group of people at expensed one group of people for the privileges of another group of people. This happened. It exists today. Yes, we all make our own reality. Our thoughts all become things, but too often in life, there's an assumption that all things are equal. And so you want wealth and abundance, you can have wealth and abundance, and so can so-and-so, and so can she, and so can he, but all things are not equal. And if you didn't have parents like I had that loved and encouraged me and that were privileged enough to help me experience life as much as I did, as including university and discipline and goal setting, then it's going to be a different journey for either you or the people you would like to reach. It just is. And so how do we bridge the gap? This is where we can be physical, spiritual beings and either volunteer, donate money, create a foundation, increase awareness, like this question now being broadcast to 15,000, now it's maybe 20,000 people. It exists and it's real, and it's not sufficient.
Into my home office around 6 a.m. after feeding.
Oh my gosh. Oh my, this is a video of my daughter. I think I must have said the Google word. I don't know. And it freaked out my phone. There goes my backup. So I'm still here. So we look for opportunities to make that difference, to be a light, to be of service. And boy, is there joy there. And it is not fair to say, well, they made their bed, let them lay in it. It's not fair to say, well, they chose to come here, as a brown-skinned, dark-skinned person, and they chose for reasons that were high at the zenith of their majesty, and so let them figure. That's not reasonable. Sometimes we cross paths with people who are disadvantaged for the symbiotic relationship, what it can do for them, what it can do for you. Because you, the privileged person who doesn't realize there's inequities, has a humongous handicap that will prevent you enjoying life like you could really enjoy it until somebody shows up in a symbiotic relationship and it's win-win. Sometimes the person who shows up who is seemingly disadvantaged has the advantage. Don't pass judgment. So I would say, while everyone's thoughts become things, it's not an equal playing field. Don't assume that it is. And where you see you can make a difference in a physical way by helping people who are hungry and maybe donating to a food bank or volunteering, do that in conjunction with all else we're doing. Do not put your happiness on hold. No amount of suffering on your behalf or going without on your behalf is going to help a single other person. So good on you that you're doing this program, and good on you too that you're realizing that there is a lot of work to be done for humanity on planet Earth beyond just telling them and teaching them, hey, you guys over there, disadvantaged people, your thoughts become things, go rock it. That's not fair, and that's not going to be received the same way it would be in a privileged household where they had a totally different experience growing up. Thank you for that great question. How do we hold that truth of only love when the world is in such violent chaos now? Oh my gosh, how many 5,000 people, and only a percentage of them turned violent in Washington, D.C. That's what you're talking about. So let's say it was 1,000, or let's say it was 5,000. And I don't know what the exact numbers are, but this is an example where, boy, are we seeing flare-ups? Are we seeing pain? And are we seeing suffering? But we can see so much more. And when you put it into the concept of context, you can realize that as this plane, this earth moves to a higher vibration, which means more love, more joy, there's going to be vestiges, exceptions, teensy tiny exceptions, where people are going to be clinging to the old and throwing a fit and a tantrum saying, I want this and I want that. And no, I don't like to change. And hey, I worked hard, so why don't they work hard? And these are microscopic exceptions. It's valuable to be aware of what's going on out there, particularly to lend a helping hand. But don't let it blind you to the beauty, purpose, order, meaning, love everywhere, the outpouring of assistance that's being directed to those suffering right now because of COVID, whether they're frontline or whether it's the food banks that are all being stocked up. And, it's still a beautiful world. And I'm not making light of the suffering that's very real all over the world, but just got to keep it in context and realize the brighter your light shines and the wider your smile is, the more people you will reach and help, lifting them up out of whatever they're going through. Is thinking of something so you might have a backup plan and ready if X happens considered worrying? Is having a backup plan kind of like worrying? Yeah, it is. My partner always says I'm worrying, but I look at it as trying to be proactive. How does that fit into this? Well, as I've shared, I am probably as big a worrier as you, and it hasn't held me back. And I totally agree with you that there's a place for being concerned and covering every base. Having a backup plan is a little bit of a cop-out. I just wouldn't use the word backup plan. I know what you mean, but I would have several irons in the fire, not because my dream might not pan out, but because some of my hows might not pan out. Now, there's nothing cursed about a how. Hows are okay until you insist on them. Then they're cursed. So you're going to try this. You're going to write the book. You're going to give a speech. You're going to take up real estate. Okay. Any one of those, none of those are your dream. The dream is love and joy and prosperity. Okay. So if any of these pan out, you're not going to have a backup to love and joy and prosperity. Put it that way. But if the book doesn't work or you're frustrated with it and you just don't feel it right now, you stop doing it. And that's not quitting on a dream. And that doesn't mean go to the backup. It's like there's other ways to get to love, joy, and prosperity. Do you see when you have general end results, questions like that don't pop up because there is no plan B for happiness, no plan B for health, no plan B for love. You never have to settle for less. You never have to change your mind again. Love, joy, and happiness, baby. Everything else is a possibility. And if you set one down, another will pop up. It's not a backup. It's not an alternate. It's just another way to get to the day of joy. If the key is for your thoughts to be fueled by emotion and most fearful of nothing but emotions. If the key is for your thoughts to be fueled by emotion and most fear is full of nothing but emotion, then how are these fearful thoughts not as powerful as 5 minutes of visualization? How is it that most things we fear don't come true? That was my question. And perhaps I didn't convey the answer so well, because you are this tidal wave of love and joy. Absolute. No maybe. You came here, you chose this life to rock and roll. No maybe. And so this magnificent body of energy, metaphorically speaking, this magnificent vortex of energy that is you, came here to have this joyful learning, growing adventure. That's how thoughts in alignment with the truth, your magnificence, your power, the reason you came here to live in joy. Thoughts in alignment with that will become things fast. Thoughts not in alignment with that. Oh, I might get fired. Oh, she might not like me. Oh, I think she's going to break up with me. Oh, nobody likes me. Oh, I'm going to gain weight. Oh, those are very hard to become things compared to truth when you know what we now know shared today, and you live accordingly to the best of your feeble ability. I say feeble because it'll feel insufficient, but it'll be enough. Okay, now let me go back to some of the pre-submitted questions. Mike, I have become discouraged over the years while trying to make it as an artist and not having the success I want. I'm pretty certain I've been messing with the cursed house and not following inspired action. At this point, I don't know what to do. I don't really feel inspired to do anything. How do I move past this? I could have written that myself at age 39 and 10 months. It's like, I've worn every hat. Corporate America, Price Waterhouse, entrepreneur, selling t-shirts on the sidewalk, selling $10 million with my mother and my brother. And now I'm starting all over and almost 40. I didn't know what my dream was. I didn't know what came next. Nothing really spoke to me. And that's why I somewhat facetiously, but literally said last week, when all the roads in front of you suck, choose the least sucky. And I'm pleased not to learn to love it. No, just to get going. And you've been wrestling with art versus income. It sounds like they don't have to go together. I know it'd be great if they went together, but by loosening up the reins so that art doesn't become a how I live with income, then you can be the prolific artist and you can move towards abundance, and maybe they'll blend and maybe they won't. And maybe there's ways of making abundance with art as a teacher, or think of the book, Julia Cameron, The Artist's Way. There's a lot of ways a person who creates art can make money rather than just do the art they created, in more ways than I can think of, e-cards and blah, blah, blah. And there's probably other interests you have other than just art. So let it be easy. Let it be fun. Don't make it a cursed how. Be an artist and love being an artist. Don't make it based on other people buying all your stuff. Just love art for the sake of art, and pursue abundance for the sake of abundance. You deserve it. And if you don't know what to do next, do the least sucky thing. And as you bear down, apply yourself, show up, see the gift, see the miracle every single day, you will fall in love with your life, and your gig, your thing will find you. Finances, abundance, and all else. Is it okay to visualize for less than 4 minutes, Mike? I'm good for about 2 or 3 minutes. Then, squirrel, I begin to lose focus and the groove that I'm enjoying. Yeah, it's fine. There's so much wiggle room. 2 or 3 minutes, perfecto. So I always set my alarm for 4 minutes. There's times when I stop before it goes off, and there's times I might hit a redo, but not too often. There's no rule there. It's just take a moment to steer your thoughts to the life that you want to be living as if it already was there. Mike, I can easily manifest the small things. How can we get over the limiting beliefs of manifesting the bigger things? Well, I wouldn't assume that you have limiting beliefs. Okay, one of the exercises coming up in the 21-day adventure is all about just forgetting what might be holding you back and get into beliefs that are empowering. And so you have that to look forward to. So don't assume something's wrong. It could be the biggest thing you've ever wanted is like a breath away, like a day away. But you come along and say, oh, I have limiting beliefs that just block the big things. Oops, can't have it tomorrow, not after that. So I'm glad you're good at manifesting the small things. Just go incrementally, just go slowly, and try not to make it, so itemized. I got this, and then I'm going to get that, and then I'm going to get this, and then I'm going to get that. My mom used to say, being British, take care of the pennies and the pounds will mind themselves. Watch your pennies and the dollars will add up. That's actually not the best advice. Yes, you should be mindful and cut costs, but let yourself dwell on the bigger picture. And more than that. So I'm saying don't just be focusing on little things. Continue to focus on the big things. But more than that, enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Every day you live is one of your manifestations. And that doesn't mean you have to manifest a bouquet of roses. Just, you see greenery? Did you see a bird? Did you hear the birds? Did you see a flower? Say, oh, we live in paradise. And like this, our turn will be done. Now, we're eternal beings, and you can come back. But it's a fleeting, precious existence, time in space. All right, let me see. Some more live questions. Is the key... Oh, I did that one. Mike, I'm curious about your reference to God being a she. Can you share your thoughts on that? Okay. Thanks for asking. Um, I once spoke frequently every week in a jail, and I brought my book Infinite Possibilities for the inmates to read it. And one guy raised his hand one day and said, "Mr. Dooley, I don't think you're doing very good here. I don't think we need what you have to offer. And my friends who've read your book over here, they say that you said God is a woman." And I was like, "What? What?" Fortunately, the next week, all the guys got together and they apologized for him. He apologized. You are doing good here. But anyway, at first I was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "God is a woman. That's not in the book." But I did the same thing. I wrote that book before I used the terminology, the universe, before Notes from the Universe, even, and the script for the audio program, that is. And what I wanted to do was to kind of rattle the cage, not the best metaphor, of the reader. I didn't want to use he, because, okay, God is everything, everywhere, always at once. God is not a gender. God is all genders. God is all people. God is every mote of dust in the space and the vacuum between them. Everything is God. Everything is God. So to say, but heretofore, people talk about God as he. Well, I understand linguistics and how that all came about, but that doesn't really paint a very clear, helpful picture, particularly if you're a woman. Oh, you're like, why not? It's like, oh my God, like men are closer or more similar to God. So what I wanted to do was shake the cage of the reader by just jarring them. I do not think God is a woman, but what I want you to stop thinking is that God is a man. That's why I do that. So great question. It's just for lack of an ideal unisex pronoun, to my knowledge. Is there a pronoun rather than it? Mike, did you say something like work is the most spiritual adventure you will take in your life? I want to hear more about that. I said you can choose to see work as perhaps the most spiritual adventure of your life. Why? It's your dance with life. It's where you're going to spend the most time in your life. I think that was inspired by Khalil Gibran talking about those who work and those who don't work and what a sacred privilege work is. You have to read The Prophet, but you don't have to go there. It's a wonderful book. But as I shared, view work as a chance every day to discover your gifts. View work as a chance every day to do good. View work as a chance every day to be of service. View work every day as your dance with life and meeting new best friends. Who are you going to meet tomorrow? What are you going to discover about yourself? Where could you brush up your armor where you think you're all that, but maybe there's some insecurities? Work will let you know where those insecurities are. What a gift. That's what I was talking about. All right. Trying to get to all these questions. I'm not doing badly as far as what I have here. Oh boy. I'm able to achieve a very high level of rah, happiness and excitement for all I know I'm attracting, but find it challenging to maintain this level of jumping up and down excitement more than 5 days in a row. After that, I still feel good, but I tend to feel quieter, a subtle sense of ease and contentment. Is it a goal to maintain the jumping up and down excitement pretty much every day? No. But if you can joyfully, playfully, just be like this every day, just for like your 4 minutes of visualization, and you don't even have to visualize and you can still be wildly successful. If you can just get there a little bit, that's enough. And no, you don't have to be bouncing off the walls. That's a little bit juvenile anyway. But sometimes if you've not been doing it, it's fun to get there. But to me, get a little physical and feel a little joy and woo-hoo, and you don't even have to do that. So don't worry, you got it. I love what you said here. A sense of ease and contentment. That's great. That's awesome. Mike, I went through the search for one big thing. I tried several on for size, but I keep coming back to, I'm not happy. I want to be happy. Truth told, I even asked Santa Claus for happiness this year. You're going to get it. It seemed more right as I went through the exercises about expanding it and abandoning the cursed house, but now I'm stuck on day 4. How can I envision this happiness and joy of being happy? Don't be thinking you have to have a reason to be happy. You don't need a reason. Okay. Your nature is just ecstasy. That's God, ecstasy. And you don't have to have a reason other than, well, you're alive. You're in this oasis of perfection, heaven on earth. That's enough. Don't be thinking you have to have a reason. Okay. And having happiness as your end result will force all other qualities. Excuse me. Mike, right now I'm engaged to be married and my end result is happy, including happily married. I know I shouldn't say his name. You can say his name. It's okay. It's okay. You don't want to hinge your life's happiness on his name, but he's in your life. You're engaged. You're getting married. So go there. Go there. Imagine it's just being so great and so awesome. If something upsets the apple cart later on and it's absolutely gigantic and you've gone to your heart of hearts and you've tried absolutely everything, maybe there's better. But for now, you can maximize the influence. You can maximize your influence towards other people's joy in your relationship by seeing them happy and including them in your vision. Again, if it doesn't work out and maybe there's cause at some point in your life to move on, then so be it. You're not going to say this person only. But you don't even have to go there now. You already know that. So just visualize this person happily ever after. You're good. But do I put current pictures of us together on my vision board? Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, my vision board on Pinterest has 79 pins. Do you think it's too much? No, it's not too much. Vision boards should be fun. Don't turn it into a job. 79 ought to keep you busy. You can pick one picture a day when you visualize on your vision board, or however you feel moved to do that. Mike, I'm German, living in Milan, and my mother tongue is German. I wrote most of the exercises in English, but I was just thinking it would perhaps be more powerful straight to my heart in German, especially for the empowering affirmations. Do you think this makes a difference for the realization of the end result? I think probably not at all. Not at all. There's so much leeway. God is pressing it out to you. The universe is pressing it out to you. All of the stars have realigned for your end result, no matter what language you use. If you're feeling really timid, if you're feeling really scared, maybe you should speak in your mother tongue for your own comfort. But the universe doesn't need that. Mike, I've already manifested happiness, perfect mate, financial security, etc. with your help. Oh, please. Good job on you. Can my one thing be to keep it, polish it up, and be giddy with joy forevermore? That's one of the best end results I've ever heard. Giddy with joy forevermore. I think you should keep doing what you're doing. That sounds perfect. Mike, what do you do when you find yourself frustrated or bummed out because your desire hasn't come yet? Stay in action. Keep busy. I know that so well. Ultimately, you're going to have so many plates spinning that disappointments will not bother you. But until you get to all those plates spinning, metaphorically, start spinning more plates and you'll be able to roll much, much more effortlessly with frustration or being bummed out. They get relegated to their rightful tiny space in your life because you've got so much going on. In the meantime, for the things that are working, be there, be fully present, enjoy. As we get further along in this adventure, I'm wondering if I am going about this the right way. My one thing was a happy, harmonious life. Now, as you said, this contains many little things that are sort of necessary to arrive at a happy, harmonious life. I've made my vision board and it includes pictures of what I see as a happy life. Exotic places, family, friends, celebration, healthy living, a comfortable home. Is that too broad? No, that's not too broad. That's awesome. Should I be detailing more and talking about my trips, my house that I will build, my electric car, the fun I will have with my family, friends, and partners? You can do that also. You're not doing it wrong. You're doing everything right. That sounds amazing end result, happy, harmonious life. That leaves infinite wiggle room, but you're not limiting the universe too much by having exotic places, family, friends, and celebrations on there. It's perfect, not too broad. And yes, you can dress those up with even further details when you visualize or affirm or act with it. Act with faith. You just don't want to attach to those details. They're just there as, icing on the cake. All right. I wish I could see you all. All right. Got some more live questions. Mike, if the key is for your thoughts to be fueled by emotion. Okay, I did that one. Mike. Okay, I did that one. Did you say something? Oh, I did that one. Mike, you are always so positive and energetic. How do you handle times when you're feeling down? Oh, I have my moments. But feeling down, I don't have many of those moments anymore. I veer towards anxiety, or I veer towards worry, or I veer towards other things, but even in those areas, less. What I'm saying is, when you're going through that, how did I do it in the past? You stay busy. You get grounded in truth. You have a vision board. You get some great books with great titles and put them around your house, like Infinite Possibilities, The Art of Living Your Dreams, or Conversations with God. And just seeing the title, seeing that book, it's like, yeah, it's okay. Everything's awesome. Everything's playing to my greater good. That will tide you over. But there is such a thing as an upward spiral. It's a beautiful thing. You're going to love it. And you don't get bummed out. And you have very few moments where you're just depressed or bothered. Even my anxiety, I say that a bit playfully, although there's truth to it. It just kind of shows up and it says, hey, you're not seeing something, Mike. You're getting carried away, swept off your feet. You don't have to go there. You're going to have a little more fun if you slow down. And so you learn from it. You're not even bothered that you have it. So you just hang in there. You do the best you can. You stay busy, and all else that I just shared. Mike, how do I change the belief that I must struggle and work hard to achieve my goals? You no longer believe that, okay? I just took it away from you. You no longer believe that. I don't even know why you ever claimed to believe that. Probably we all have some vestiges of that, but as your dreams start coming true and more with less and less effort, you're going to be like, well, that's not one of my dreams, obviously, because everything is just working out so well. Don't buy into the premise that you have invisible, limiting, self-sabotaging beliefs. You might, but by going there, you embolden them. Instead, the exercise coming up in one of these 21-day activities is to list your empowering beliefs that you'd like to have and install them. I'll let the rest fill in itself when you get to that day. So just start affirming the opposite is another tool. But life is easy and lots of fun and good things come to me effortlessly. Life is easy and lots of fun and good things come to me effortlessly. Just do all of these things will play to that greater good, and a big vision board with a lot of joy that makes you smile. When those thoughts become things, and they do, it's the law, you're just not going to be that person anymore who thought they had to work so hard, because you're going to find time, you're going to manage and balance, and you're going to be there, and you're not going to be that person. Mike, are we ever forced into creation? Could we lay on the couch and refuse to take any kind of action? I don't understand the first question. Could we lay on the couch and refuse to take any kind of action? Well, you could, but that's kind of a contradiction to life is awesome and I am powerful. Because if you even had to fake it, like affirm life is awesome and I am powerful, as that starts getting into your bones, you're not going to want to lay around on the couch. Plus, if all you did was lay around on the couch, as I laid out last week, action is imperative. Fortunately, the more enlightened you become, the more action you want to take, because it's all a dance. So I hope that helps. The first part of that question, are we ever forced into creation? I think you must be saying, if we want change, are we sometimes required to physically act on it? And I would say, yes, 100% of the time. But change how you view it. It is not a four-letter word to have work, okay? It's a dance. Mike, how do we handle the challenges we encounter with our family and circle of experience that keep asking us for proof, authorization, verification for everything we believe and do? Oh, you're going to outgrow those friends, or they will outgrow you. And if there are people who you share a roof with, like flesh and blood, well, let your life and your manifestations be the proof. Think not you need to convince them. Think not that your partner must be totally, thoughts become things, man. No, let them have their beliefs and you have yours. Respect them. You don't want them to infuse or pollute your thoughts with their garbage of hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. And they don't want to be infused with your pollution of rainbows and unicorns. So respect that distance, rock your life, show them how it's done, and be a light, brother and sister. Mike, what about our beliefs? Ooh, last one. From subconscious mind, how can we change them fast? Our thoughts are one thing, but what about our deep beliefs that we cannot change so quickly? Seth, dictated by Jane Roberts, the channeled work, the book, The Nature of Personal Reality is probably the most famous. Get it at your bookstore. Seth says there's really no dividing line, no separation between conscious and subconscious. That's just a handy tool for psychotherapy. And psychotherapy can be extremely valuable, and it's a great tool, but there is no real barrier. It all blends together. This question to me wants to make our understanding of life and how we maneuver through it more complicated than it is. Don't worry about your subconscious. I'll tell you about your subconscious thoughts and beliefs. You're a gladiator of joy. You're an eternal being of light. You're here to rock and roll. You're unstoppable. That's in your DNA. And you're not worried about that, are you? That will override, I'm not worthy, and my dad was mean, and my mom ran away, and who cares about those subconscious things? They're gonna get erased by the upwelling of truth that we've uncovered today by connecting some dots, and they're going to be blinded by the light of your amazing life when you start manifesting pop, 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 pop. So don't worry about your subconscious thoughts. I mean, it's a good question. I get where you're coming from, but you're not vulnerable to your subconscious thoughts. Well, fellow adventurers, would you believe I have had anxiety the last couple of days looking forward to this 90 minutes. And I think it was evident I had a good time. Thank you for the opportunity. Mike, when are you going to get over being anxious about speaking to 20,000 people? Okay, get over it. It's no big deal. No, not that many of you are watching live right now. But I presumed that there will be that many once all the recordings get played and shared and bootlegged and whatever. So thank you for this opportunity to share. Lots of love from Orlando, Florida, from my casa to su casa. Enjoy the week at a pace that works for you. Don't overload. Don't do your vision board in one sitting unless it's really fun. Don't do anything other than watch the video and do the assignment until the end of the 21 days. And then 4 minutes a day, some deliberated thought or activity, and then live in a new manner and prepare to be astounded. Thank you. Adios. Hasta la vista. And we'll see you next Tuesday.